Welcome to Intuitive Astrology with Molly McCord. Thank you so much for joining me today as we're going to discuss the energies of December 22nd until December 29th, as we have very big astrology over this next week and very intense astrology. So this is a heads up to be extra gentle with yourself, to stay very conscious and aware of what's coming up for you, because these are energies that we have been working with throughout this year, meaning the energies that are coming up could feel like the same themes you've already been moving through, you're already aware of them, but it could be that they feel even bigger or more significant as we close out 2021. And that's because a lot of these energies are ones we've already been working through, but now we're revisiting them and hopefully seeing them from a higher vantage point. So we have the third and final square between Saturn in Aquarius and Uranus retrograde in Taurus, occurring at 11 degrees on December 23rd and 24th. This is the square energy that started in February, that was stronger again in June, and now we have the third and final pass of it, which we'll be talking about in today's show. Over this next week, we also have Venus retrograde in Capricorn, making another exact conjunction to Pluto in Capricorn, as well as Mercury in Capricorn entering the conversation, making a conjunction to Venus retrograde and then a conjunction to Pluto in Capricorn. So Mercury brings in information, messages, communications around these Venus conjunct Pluto themes. And this is where there could be an intensity here that is not rational. This is not logical energy. This has a sense of really pulling you into something that could at times feel very big, overwhelming, extreme, emotional. And that's because of the Pluto influence, where Pluto connects to your soul's imprints. It connects to the part of us that we don't always know or understand at first. We have to work through something. And this Venus retrograde can bring up significant fears around relationships, fears around money, fears around career, fears around where you're going next and why is it confusing and feels so big, and at times it could also be overwhelming. This is a very powerful energy, but it's not rational and it's not logical. So you could have some waves come through that feel like they knock you off your center. They take you away from even a sense of, I thought I was clear on this. I thought I had this figured out. But anytime a personal planet is conjunct Pluto, it brings up energies that are much, much deeper and connect with other parts of our energy that aren't of the mind. So know that something could come up that could feel very big and intense. And again, it's going to relate to these Venus themes, where you could say, I thought I worked through some of this stuff and now here it is coming up again. And that's because there are more layers, deeper layers to understand, as well as to transform. So if you can see this as a transformative energy, that what comes up is something that's looking for your attention and validation, meaning if a fear comes up, if something feels that it's very big and scary, the giant monster hiding in the closet comes out, one of the ways you can consciously work with it is to welcome it. Welcome the fear, welcome the bigness, welcome the emotions, because when you welcome it in, you're no longer resisting it and you're giving it space to express itself. And it could feel like there is then something you're ready to hear or understand on a much deeper level, simply because you allowed this monster or this fear into the room and you're ready to listen to what it has to say. And this could be part of the influence of Mercury coming through and making that conjunction to both Venus and Pluto, where Mercury, the messenger, wants us to understand something, wants us to feel that it's okay to talk about it, to discuss it, to hear yourself. And this could be something where it feels good to talk to yourself, to talk it out as part of your processing, as well as going deeper into what you're meant to unearth. So this energy will be strong December 25th until December 30th. So it really has this whole week in play where we have the opportunity to be mindful of a fear, a doubt. And this can be something, again, very karmic, also related to what you've been through in this lifetime that you don't want to repeat. And there could be a fear of repetition where you're saying, okay, I know how far I've come. I know what I've healed. I know what I've moved through. I understand more of my value, more of my worth. I understand more of how I'm strong and capable and I can handle a lot. I can really feel strong in myself in this world. And then we have something that comes in front of us that feels like this big giant monster. It brings forth a lot of energy and intensity, and it's essentially a revisitation. There is a revisiting energy here that's coming up where it relates to the Venus energies, but it relates to something that you've already been healing and working through this year. And at first, it could feel like it knocks you off your feet, or it's something that you thought you worked through it and then here it is again. And you could even feel exhausted. You could have that sense of, why am I dealing with this again? And this is part of the retrograde energy. And again, that intensity from Pluto adds in more layers. And so what you want to do is be very kind to yourself and notice how far you have come and that all of that has counted. You're not back at zero. You're not starting over. This is not probably something fresh and new. It could be something that shows up that's the same theme or this similar energy, but it's wearing different clothes. And you could have a sense of, are you kidding me? I thought I was done with this. But this is a beautiful opportunity and gift for you to basically approach something that's been looping or circling around, but now you're approaching it from a higher consciousness. Now you're recognizing it. Aha, I know what this is about. I know this fear. I know this pattern. I know this loop. I know it's coming up. And now I'm meant to see it in a new way and in a higher way and approach it from that energy. Again, this is about a revisitation, and it could show up in the form of a person, of a situation or a dynamic, of a feeling. It could be something that comes up for you emotionally that you're revisiting. It could be something that's coming up that relates to family dynamics, that relates to the holidays. I mean, there's a lot that can come through this time of year, and it's revisiting us. And similar to Charles Dickens' classic story, A Christmas Carol, where Ebenezer Scrooge sees his past self, his present self, and his future self. You have an opportunity here to very consciously address something that is revisiting you and to know that you are not the same. It could feel like the energy coming through is similar, but you are not the same. And that's what you're meant to acknowledge. You're meant to see what you have moved through, what you have healed, how much you have grown, and then to address it from a different energy. And that stops the loop. That stops the cycling of the energies. That also stops the karmic patterns. So this is an opportunity to address something from your own higher energy field, your own place of higher consciousness, to be very intentional and to look at how far you've come. And it's only through these revisitations that we're really able to practice this. And because of the influence of Mercury here, there could be something that you're finally able to say, express, communicate, write down, even hear in yourself that also reinforces your mastery. It reinforces what you have put effort into moving through. And now there are going to be some situations or circumstances that allow you to demonstrate that, perhaps only to yourself even, where others don't know or understand. I mean, this can be very personal, but this could be something where you're able to express yourself to another in a way that feels very strong and clear for you, and also reinforces your personal respect. personal integrity, how much you accept and love yourself right now. And that would be one way to consciously work with this energy. Because again, it could feel like something comes up that triggers a fear, that triggers something emotional or potentially overwhelming. And this is where you get to say, I've got this. I know what I can do in this situation differently. And it's also a demonstration of what I have learned, what I have understood, and what I have moved through. So I'm doing this for me. I'm doing this with a sense of personal respect for my own journey, what I've been through, and how far I've come, especially across multiple lifetimes. And that's how deep this energy goes, because Pluto is associated with our soul's evolution. And that's why the energy can feel so dang big, is because you've worked with it throughout multiple lifetimes and timelines. And so here it comes again, or something comes up, or maybe you spot it coming a mile away and you say, oh yes, I know what this is. And it's because it's so familiar. But you're different. You've shifted, you've changed, and now you have an opportunity to address it and work with it from that energy field. So this is significant over the next week as we move through the final days of 2021. And it is going to require you to be strong in yourself, a strengthening of self, a strengthening of self-love. And that's part of what the Venus retrograde in Capricorn is reprogramming and rewiring it. But because it's in the earth sign, we also need to do something with it in the physical world. And that's how it lands, so to speak. That's how something is fully integrated with these earth signs, is that we do something with it. We apply it, we integrate it, we make sure that that energy is then embedded into our physical life or our physical world in some capacity. And this could be something that's very big for you because of that Pluto influence, where the energy goes across multiple lifetimes. It is that significant. So be gentle and kind with yourself at the same time, because I feel like there could be something here that's moving you towards a beautiful, powerful reset when Venus retrograde is conjunct the Sun January 9th, which is part of a Venus rebirth. It's part of the Venus star point energies, and it's showing you more of who you are on this planet, which is also part of the earth signs' strength, is that they ground us. They remind us that we are in this physical body on a physical planet, on this planet, on Earth. So there's something here that can support your journey on this planet in this lifetime, but it's required a lot of work. It's been intense. And again, it's not rational. It's not logical, because you could think, I really moved through this. I really thought this was over, but then more energy comes forward. So just welcome it into your living room. Allow that fear or that message that feels really big into your space and listen to it. Listen to what it's trying to teach you or remind you of that might not be relevant for right now, meaning it might not even be about this current timeline or this present moment. It could be connected to your inner child. It could be connected to older versions of yourself in this lifetime when you participated in various cycles of consciousness with other people. Now, because Venus is involved, this is relational energy. So it can be about partnerships, relationships, people you've known, specifically women, how you've handled it, how you've shown up, what you've done, how you participated in the dynamic. This is where there's an opportunity to take responsibility for all of your energy, all of your experiences, to simply own it, and to own it from a place of, yeah, I did that. Yeah, I contributed in that energy. Yeah, I was in that place in my life or in my soul's growth. Yeah, I was. And now I'm different. Now I am renewed. I am more conscious. I am more healed. There's things I'll never go back to. So that's part of what this energy is showing us as well. It's showing you what you'll never go back to. And now you have an opportunity to contribute or participate from a different energy field. And simply knowing this can help you move through, can help you understand that even when things come around and they revisit you and they pop up again, or perhaps it's a text message, it's an old flame, it's an old lover, it's somebody you used to date. They come back around, especially during the holiday season, when there's gatherings, when people are meeting up, when you're seeing family. People can reconnect, but it's very important to honor who you are now, what you need now, what matters to you, and to basically hold that sacred. There can be a sacredness here, and it's being honored within you. And you could even see it as an energy connected to your heart chakra. I'm getting the visual of a very beautiful emerald, green emerald that's connected to the heart chakra, and how there has been refining going on, refining the heart, really having clarity on what love is to you or what you need to feel loved, to receive love. These are the energies of Venus. So again, this energy is very big, but know that you're different, and it certainly connects to what we're feeling around this third and final square related to Saturn in Aquarius, Uranus retrograde in Taurus, meeting up at 11 degrees on December 23rd and 24th. And this exact square started in February, happened again in June, and now this is the final pass of it, which is a completion of something. So what did you move through in February? What was a big thing for you in February that maybe you've been feeling tension around? This could be something that you haven't been able to fully let go of. This could be something you've been struggling with. You've been trying to figure out a solution or work through it, and it hasn't budged. Or it's maybe moved a little and then it's come back and it's locked in. This energy can feel like that holding pattern that we've talked about in other shows. It can feel like you've been juggling something, or you've had to stay in a particular energy, and as much as you try to break free or break out, it's still something you've had to contend with. You've had to take care of business. It's a commitment that you can't just leave or walk away from. There could feel like a restraint around this, a restraint around your independence, your desire to do something new or different or to go your own way. And as we have this third and final exact square between the outer planets here, between Saturn and Uranus, something has been shifting within us, but it's taken time. And what I'm seeing and what it's felt like is that there has been this ongoing splitting of the worlds, splitting of consciousness, but it's happened slowly. It's happened throughout a process. And these energies that are splitting, the splitting of these worlds is what it looks like. They're still hovering together very closely. There is an overlap. The energies are very much connected, but they're very different. And that's why it feels so uncomfortable. And what you could be feeling in yourself is your own stepping away from one version of life or one level of consciousness and moving into something, but it's almost like you're not able to fully arrive there. We've been in this holding pattern. We've been in this place of having to stick it out, and it's been pulsing. It's like this pulsing energy that can be hard to manage or maintain at times, because on the one hand, you have this increasing frequency. You have this part of your consciousness and your energy field that's been spiraling up, that's really been moving and growing, expanding, increasing in its capacity to hold more light, to really understand what it means to be a new version of yourself, while at the same time, you could feel tethered, like you're captive, like you're held to something that is limiting you, that's not allowing you to move fully into this next version of yourself or where you want to go next in your life. It's important to note that the universe works with us to support us, even when we can't see it in the moment. And sometimes we're not meant to move too fast. We're meant to sit and marinate in these energies. We're meant to really feel them out and to work through perhaps what we wouldn't see if we had moved ahead too quickly and weren't able to consciously work with this dynamic. So when we talk about these square energies, at this time, the Saturn energy is very strong because it's direct, whereas Uranus in Taurus is retrograde now and is ruled by this Venus, which rules Taurus, Venus being in retrograde, Venus working with Pluto, as we just discussed, undergoing a very intense transformation. So right now, the Saturn energy is holding strong on what needs to be completed, what we need to make sure we finish, where we have commitments, responsibilities. You can't just be set free because a deeper reprogramming is happening and we are needing time to move through it. And Saturn is about time on the clock, the time we have in this lifetime, what we do with our time. So there's always a timing element involved with Saturn. And in this case, throughout 2021, it hasn't been the right time for something that you want next. It's almost like it's not lined up yet, and it's not even maybe fully clear. And I feel like it will get clear as we move into 2022, specifically after the Venus retrograde ends January 29th, and after this Mercury retrograde ends, which will happen the beginning of February. So we're moving through some unraveling and unwinding that simply takes time. And it's also been intense. And we can have this feeling of, well, how do I manage this struggle? How do I manage this tension? And that could be one thing that you've had to work through over this past year, is that there's something you've had to responsibly manage on your own that can even feel very lonely at times. And this is something that Saturn will do. It will remove external supports. It will remove others that you would typically go to. It requires us to do something on our own, to see the strength of our own energy, to work with it consciously. So this is where you could feel like you've been maybe exhausted from an internal battle, where there's something you've been moving through and it feels like it just won't budge or it just won't give. That is going to change, but it's important to look at what has been created from that tension or that struggle. Meaning, what gems of wisdom have you seen in yourself? The pressure that's been applied that could even feel relentless at times, this relentless pressure. What has it shown you about your capabilities, about your energy, about your ability to keep showing up for yourself? What have you learned because of this sense of being stuck in between worlds? And that's what it's felt like, where we have the splitting of energies, we have higher realms of consciousness opening up to us, but we've been in this back and forth that has had an unease and a sense of maybe even anxiety, maybe even the sense of you're feeling it in your nervous system. You've been feeling it in your emotional body. You've been feeling that there's more coming through, but again, you haven't been set free. And as we move into the new year, it will ease up, especially into February, because January still has this energy signature in it. Although it won't be as intense, it will still be present, but there's going to be things that start to open up. It's almost like fresh air comes in, new signs of transition, a sense of even release. But we're meant to get stronger in these energies and to keep trusting our own skills and methods for handling these energies. Now, over the next 2 years, we have a lot of intense astrology, and that is related to the Pluto return in the USA, which starts in February 2022. We also have some big energies coming up that we'll be working through into 2024, 2025. So part of this calendar year has been supporting us in developing skills to move through tension, to keep showing up for ourselves, to manage our own energies as best we can, and to know that some days that's all you can do, because there's so much going on There's big energies coming through in the world at large, but what can you do to self-manage? And that's what's going to help us in these years to come. Now, this energy of the splitting of the worlds or the splitting of consciousness is going to keep growing into 2022. And we're going to continue to see it and feel it. And again, you're probably even feeling it within yourself, within your own energy. That sense of this is who I was, but this is who I am now. I'm very different. I'm feeling different in myself and my awareness and my needs and my consciousness. And this is how we're meant to move forward. Because what I'm seeing here is that this splitting of the worlds has been very, very important for what is opening up for us next, for what we're going towards, what we're moving towards, and what we are already co-creating in other realms. This is certainly related to new earth energies and higher dimensions, and understanding that we're in this interesting place where we're connecting with higher energies, but we're still on this planet. And we're meant to be bringing these energies onto the planet, bringing them down while also rising up. And that's part of this interesting back and forth, is that as the energies come down and come in, they meet us where we are. And sometimes we have to go a little bit higher, stretch ourselves, really expand into more, which can challenge the everyday reality we live in. And so this has certainly not been easy. It's been confusing at times. It's been unsettling. It's brought up a lot of bigger questions, but it's also showing us more ways to work with the energies and to understand our own mastery, that we are capable of integrating these higher frequencies onto the planet, and that's part of our service to the planet. It could even help to keep in mind that part of this energetic transition and this splitting of energies into different areas of consciousness is also connected to what humanity has chosen, what we have collectively decided that we wanted to co-create on this planet, that we were done with certain timelines, done with certain experiences and energies and karma, and that in order to be done, we needed to then co-create that next level or the higher experiences, as well as bring in those energies onto the planet. So this energy we're moving through can also be seen as a very powerful choice point that we have made for humanity's best and highest good. And in order to get there or to get anywhere new, sometimes there is more chaos at first. More struggle, more challenges, more uncertainty. And that's because of how the energies are very different and they're now in alignment with that higher timeline. So you can see too from the much higher viewpoint that what we're moving through is also quite exciting. Even when it is challenging and slow and very trying at times, perhaps even very scary and lonely even, there are energies here that are reminding us to keep going forward, because what we're co-creating is coming into our reality. And in fact, we have created new choices for where to go in this lifetime. We have created a new direction, and that's a really big deal. That's also why this decade is so significant, because we are not allowing certain energies to continue to dominate or hold humanity back, or even to be the only experience or only options on this planet. We have called in and co-created this new level of experiences, these new energies that are coming in. And that's because there are now energies on this planet that will connect with those higher frequencies. Meaning there have been times and phases on this planet where these higher energies could not come in. They could not connect. There was nowhere for them to go because humanity's consciousness was not at that place to receive them or work with them. So we have a very exciting transition underway, and that's what is really guiding us, even if it feels very uncertain and almost like an intense death or leaving behind an old way of life, because these new energies that are coming in are supporting what we're creating throughout this decade. So it will take a while. These are not immediate changes or quick fixes, but there are things that have been collapsing and changing at a very fast speed. So we have this interesting dichotomy between recognizing the old way or the other levels of consciousness while perhaps not fully seeing the new ways or the new consciousness at 100%. So again, that's part of this energetic overlap, some of the pressure and the tension, and also where there has been a requirement on each of us to keep growing, to keep going, and to keep our energy or even our heads above the clouds, so to speak, above the fray, above the turmoil, and to stay focused on what we are co-creating that will continue to arrive in waves and in various energy cycles as our focus remains on what we want. So keep in mind, this is a positive transition overall, but it has required us to let go of old versions of ourselves, previous things we accepted as just okay, and that was fine, and I could handle it. Now we're raising the bar, raising the standard, requiring more of ourselves. And what's interesting is that it could also feel much simpler. It could feel like you're just so done with certain experiences and cycles, karma, healing, etc., that it becomes really simple, that what you want is even clearer. And in fact, I'm getting the visual right now of driving in a vehicle where that front windshield is very big and the rear view mirror is small. And so it's important to look at it from that vantage point where the direction forward can be much more of your focal point and much more of what you're seeing rather than what is in the rear view mirror and what is perhaps slowly getting smaller and smaller. Now, another significant energy we have this week is that Jupiter returns to Pisces again, enters Pisces on December 28th, and is at 0 degrees, where it was previously in both May and July of this year. So Jupiter re-enters Pisces and is going to move fast through this last sign of the zodiac, as it will travel through all of Pisces in 5 months. Now, I've already done a few videos for you on this energy. I will provide links below this podcast. But this is a time of coming back into your intuition and trusting what you're feeling. Also trusting the energies that are speaking to you, which is very much a part of the Pisces realm, where we become more psychic and intuitive. We just sense things. Our clairs open up. Your clairvoyance, claircognizance, clairaudience, they open up really wide when Jupiter enters Pisces. And with this energy being direct, it means you can really feel into it and really trust it. Jupiter is much more at home in Pisces, which was an astrological sign it used to rule before Neptune was discovered. So Jupiter in Pisces is a feminine opening energy. It can also help us with these transitions where now we really feel there's more ways to trust, to understand that change is necessary. In fact, how change is the only constant, as the quote goes. Jupiter in Pisces is a softening of the energies. It's detachment and allowing, stepping back, allowing things to unfold, allowing the divine to support you, allowing the universe to come forward and bring you something or a message or an intuitive hit or an inspiration that is designed to support you. This is very loving energy. It's very feminine energy. And it reminds us that we're not alone. We're not alone in this galaxy. We're not alone in these energies. And so where do you go when you need to feel connected, because that Pisces energy wants you to go into your spiritual self, your higher self, and your soul. The Pisces energy reminds you that you're never traveling alone. And in fact, your higher self and your soul have traveled with you through all incarnations, through all lifetimes, across multiple dimensions. And so what gifts would you want to pull forward into this reality? Because Jupiter wants you to have ease and grace and joy. Jupiter is where we learn through joy. We learn through a sense of positive reinforcement. And this helps expand us beyond the physical and into the energetic realms that are always present and available to us. So this Jupiter and Pisces energy is also part of the revisitation themes that I've been mentioning, because Jupiter is returning here to Pisces for the third time at this 0-degree point, and also bringing up or bringing forth something for you to see, to trust, to understand. Also to remind yourself that you're so much more than this human experience and this human body. And when you connect to these other realms, you're going to feel that support. You're going to have messages and information come in that will guide you on next steps. But it does require trusting what you're feeling, hearing, and sensing. So there is much more that opens up when Jupiter moves into Pisces, where it will stay until the middle of May 2022. And in fact, there could be something that shows up for you now that is right on time, where maybe you got a preview of it in May, June, July of this year. Something came up and it lifted your spirits. It gave you a sense of possibilities and trust. It gave you a renewal. And now this energy returns when Jupiter is back in Pisces. And because we have multiple energies here that are all about revisiting something, it could be that this is the week where you really connect some dots. You understand why something took as long as it had to take. You could see more of what you had to go into and look at and heal. You could understand more of some of your bigger soul themes, because a lot of this year had strong stop and go energies. And it's almost like you make progress and then it feels like you take a step back. So this is going to be a week where you're going to be able to assess, realistically assess, and look at something, perhaps even through new eyes, as you're leaving behind where you've been. You're understanding more about why it's taken as long as it's taken. And you can also return to feeling good about yourself and having compassion for your own journey, having a sense of kindness towards yourself, that you can only do what you can do sometimes. And that's it, right? That's just calling it a day. And then you wake up and a new day begins. So I feel like there's something here that's meant to also be reassuring. Even if some of these big energies come up and they can be overpowering or overwhelming at times, there's energies here that are asking you to look at how far you've come and to really recognize yourself and what you've been through, especially in the past 2 years. So what we've covered are the dominant energies and transiting planets of this week. We have some other energies that are also in play, but of a lesser influence. Mars in Sagittarius is trining Chiron in Aries at 8 degrees on December 25th. That is the same day that Venus retrograde is conjunct Pluto in Capricorn. So if you celebrate Christmas, you could experience both of these energies. We also have on December 26th, Mercury in Capricorn sextiling Neptune in Pisces at 20 degrees. So when the personal planets are interacting with the outer planets, which is the case here, we then have something shifting within us at a personal level. We have something moving through us and showing us a higher path or a new consciousness. But because these are lesser influences, unless you're aware of them, you might not really sense them or feel them. Now, we also have over this next week a lot happening on December 29th, when this is Mercury conjunct Venus retrograde in Capricorn at 24 degrees, the same time that the Sun in Capricorn squares Chiron in Aries at 8 degrees, and then Mars in Sagittarius sextiles Saturn in Aquarius at 11 degrees. Taken together, this could be a time when you have a change of course. You need to think about things more clearly. You want to take a break. There could be energies here that feel like a slowdown. But what is also occurring is that this Mars in Sagittarius is approaching 12 degrees of Sag, which is triggering that eclipse we had December 3rd and 4th. So something comes up around these Sagittarius energies that feels like, don't forget your new belief about yourself, where it could be easy to slide back into a comfort zone or to how you've always done something or into what you always thought or what you always assumed. It feels like the end of December is reminding you that you've shifted and grown so much that you have new belief systems. So you're going to have to catch yourself. Catch yourself when you slide back into an old thought or an old way of viewing something. Catch yourself, because it could be easier to then step back into what you really believe now. So there's this self-monitoring, self-management energy that's quite strong, because part of this eclipse season that we're still in, by the way, we're still in eclipse energies as they will continue into January. But part of this is where you're going forward, and that part of going forward is being realistic around our own weaknesses. And that's part of the Sun in Capricorn squaring Chiron in Aries, where you could have that, oof, I slid back. I see it. I'm observing it. I can see why I did that, but I don't want to be too hard on myself. So part of this as well is to not be too hard on yourself. Part of learning, part of doing anything new is that you catch yourself, you get up, and you try again. And I'm getting the image of a toddler learning to walk after crawling, where you stand up, you find your balance, you try to stabilize, you take some steps, and then maybe you tumble. That's okay. That's just part of the learning process. And so if we can have those softer expectations on ourselves, softer expectations of, I'm learning to do this differently. I'm learning to do this in a whole new way. And some days, again, some days they're just tougher than others, but that's where you apply some compassion and kindness to yourself. And then, tomorrow's a new day. Get up, try it again. So we really end December and this year with an understanding that the growth we've been going through and the intensity of it has not necessarily brought about quick rewards or instant gratification. And that's truly the world we live in these days, right? Where we expect to have anything on demand. We expect we can do something right now. You can fast forward through commercials. You can have any form of entertainment at any hour of the day. You get online, you can look up anything. So we live in this current reality where we expect instant gratification. And when that doesn't happen, we can think something's wrong. But the universe doesn't work on that same timeline, especially when we're bringing in new energies and we have this overlap between consciousness energies, this overlap between worlds that we're also experiencing within ourselves at an individual level. So it's a beautiful time to continue to take things one day at a time. Look for those gems or pearls of wisdom that you've accumulated along the way. Look at what you have healed and changed in yourself and stay the course. Stay the course of where you're going, what you want to manifest, what you want to create, because that is also the reality that is forming for you and part of your next new experiences on this planet. So we certainly end 2021 with some very big, potent energies. And I hope that they're also showing you what you have moved through, how far you've grown and come this year, what you're leaving behind, what is no longer your truth, and also to stay strong in who you are now. And just as I started at the beginning of the show with, remember that if something comes back around and it's revisiting you, it's also your opportunity to be in your power now, to stand strong in who you are now, to do it differently, whatever that might mean for you, as well as to become more familiar with who you are now after another year on this wild planet. I will have a show for you next Wednesday, as always. And just a reminder that there are no Monday episodes this week or next week, but I am releasing videos for you on YouTube that talk about specific astrological topics. So please check that out over on my YouTube channel, where I will have a new video for you on Friday as well as on Monday. And there is still time to sign up for the 2022 Soul Growth Astrology program. You can get it for only $25 until December 31st of this year. Just use coupon code 2022 and you'll have instant access to the big astrology of the year ahead, including the 4 eclipses, the 4 Mercury retrogrades, the Mars retrograde in Gemini, as well as the other transiting energies of the planets. So please check that out, as it's designed to help you see these energies in your own chart, where you bring your natal chart and then you can see what's happening for you in the years ahead, including the eclipses and where the eclipses will be showing up for you, for example. As always, thank you so much for joining me for this podcast. I'll see you back here next Wednesday for our last show of 2021. I wish you a beautiful week ahead as we move through these powerful energies. And I'm so very grateful that we're co-creating these higher energies together. So I wish you a beautiful holiday season. Merry Christmas. Happy Kwanzaa. Happy Boxing Day. Happy Nothing Day if you celebrate nothing. And happy everything else for the holidays that I didn't mention. But have a joyful week ahead, and I'll see you back here very soon.